Thank you, Heavenly Dad.
Well, I should add, reluctantly, what do you think the Russian army was doing as it retreated
Further into
Tartaria? Don't think it was really their territory, no. It'd be beyond Moscow and so on. They would have had to crash as they went. And take provisions as they wished, as they needed. And so, if there was no organised military response against them, did Tartaria fall because of the Russian retreat into an enemy that they'd never really coped with? The more wilder people on the fringe of Tartaria. Is it the Russians that took revenge on? The word Tartar is still there. From the Russian point of view, they weren't a loved people. Did they just wipe them out as they went?
historic revenge on the hordes of Central Asia.
Don't like to say it, but were the Russians replenishing their resources at the expense of the cities on the way, and then realised
Fortuitously,
they could take their revenge on the whole of Tartaria, really. And so we get, by the end of as we move through the 19th century, the penetration of Russia east in its tendency, for the elites to treat any peasantry as servitude and resource. Isn't it more likely that the wiping out of the populations, we're talking about genocide? It's done by Russia. Don't want to give them a bad name, but didn't all nations have a bad name? Stepland people, further back in history we go, tend to kill as they go. In older times, he tended to kill the men. But in modern times, I say modern, you see even very strongly in the 20th century, the genocide is on men and women. Or perhaps you see children as a resource to repopulate the West. So you get these orphan trains and amazing number of orphans that seem to appear in Europe in the 19th century. I don't mean these are my own penetrating ideas, apart from the fact that possibly it's the Russians that are causing it. An exhausted nation from Napoleon gaining its feet at the expense of a major affluent neighbour that wasn't prepared for war. I mean, it is extraordinary, isn't it, how Russia, from being a European country, if you like, west of the Urals, comes to be by 1914 all the way to China. What a coincidence. A bit like the coincidence, so to speak, of this seismic activity. French Revolution. The extraordinary, whatever it was, wars with Napoleon. A crash in, I think, the Western population. Well, the world population anyway. Due to the climate change, so to speak. Climate change again. And wars. Famine, therefore, as a consequence. And famine means disease as well. Children are a resource to replenish or take a stronger hold on the Americas as well, you know, more children there. Don't know. I suppose really I shouldn't want to know. Dear one, I, whatsoever is good and lovely, think on these things. Thank you, Heavenly Dad.
Well, I had a further note. It's not clear that Russia was controlling Moscow at this time. I mean, in a sense, one should think of Russia as part of Tartarian Confederation, but more Europe aligned. And it may have been that Napoleon was not fighting Russia, was fighting Tartaria that controlled Moscow. After all, the Russian government wasn't in Moscow. But more of that in later recordings, perhaps.